Pulp MX Network production.
Bringing you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly. It's the LVK More Than Moto podcast with your hosts, Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Leatt LVK More Than Moto podcast. That's right, Leatt jumping on board with us this year, and we're so thankful to have them. So big shout out to Leatt. You'll hear more about them throughout the show. Of course, I'm Kellen Brauer, joined by Phillips. Glendale, Triple Crown behind us in the books. I was not there this weekend. Lewis, you were. I know that this is a special race for you. It is for me, too. I wish I could have gone. But how are the vibes in Glendale this weekend?
It just makes me so happy, Kellen, which is hard, as you know, because when am I ever happy? Apart from when I'm interviewing Chase, but that's besides the point. No, Glendale is a top-notch venue, and as I've said time and time again over the years, if you are a fan who has to fly to a race, naturally Anaheim 1 will attract you. But just give Glendale a little look. Just give it a chance to prove itself to you, because Glendale, along with the MXGP of Latvia, are my two favorite races in the world.
And Glendale in the past has been rumored to maybe be linked up with SMX rounds, but I really wish that we had an SMX round there too.
I've never heard that rumor.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay. But obviously the football schedule wouldn't necessarily work because the Arizona Cardinals are playing by the time SMX comes around. However, the difference I feel like is that because you can roll that field out of the stadium, I don't know. I feel like they could get dirt in and out of there in 5 or 6 days and have it pretty cleaned up if you find an off weekend to put that thing on.
Well, as long as they don't take away the Glendale Supercross, I'll allow it, because Glendale deserves its spot.
How was the press box buffet?
Honestly, so backstory. The press box is massive in Glendale, and half of it is for stadium VIPs, nothing to do with Feld, and half of it is for the press. There's a rope between us, and there is a massive buffet every year in the VIP section. We're talking drinks, desserts, multiple main courses, and I've made it my mission every year to sneak in, and have done so successfully. And it's become, I'm the only man who can be trusted with such a task. I go and get everyone food because we don't want to blow our cover by all of us going. This year, not as good food, less food than normal. Don't know why. Still good, multiple desserts, multiple mains, less food, and for the first time, my cover was blown.
Uh-oh, what happened?
They caught me red-handed. They asked me to put the food down. But you know what, Kellen? No one puts Lewis in a corner. I went away, returned 5 minutes later with my hood up, and I got my fucking food.
You're inevitable. And
if that is not a lesson to everyone out there to go and get what you want in life, then I don't know what more I can do.
Yeah. It's funny this weekend because I didn't get to go. I actually watched the race with some people that are like way more casual to the sport. Like they know about it, but they don't watch it regularly, and we sat and watched it together.
Did they ask when they do backflips?
No.
Okay.
Like they know that it's racing.
I was joking.
But they actually asked me, like, so which press box has the best food? And I'm like, well, I mean, this one does because there's not really food in any other press box. It's not like the media gets, like, catered food. We get pizza and now hot wings occasionally, but...
I'll tell you what we had this week. Lunchables.
I saw that. Yeah, what was that about?
We thought it was a joke, but it turns out it was a serious attempt at feeding us. So well, don't worry, we kiboshed that immediately. I think that's now off of the rotation.
Oh man, poor Steve. I hope his daughter liked those Lunchables.
I don't think you're allowed to make those jokes. Also, okay, we're not allowed to make those jokes, but I did out that to Weege and JT, so that it's starting to spread. JB, maybe AC was there as well. It's really starting to gather steam.
This is fantastic. Okay. Can't wait to hear more about this week. Okay, let's get into the show. Let's do our topics. And yeah, of course, like I said, big shout out to Leatt, Namura, Race Tech, Partzilla, all on board with us. We'll tell you guys more about them throughout the show and talk about the Partzilla riders who their entire team that was there this weekend made it in. So that was awesome to see the PRMX crew crushing it. All right, so my first topic of the day, Lewis, is look, this Jett Lawrence situation just happened. They're getting an MRI today. So we don't know everything just yet. But I feel like the aesthetics of all of this don't look good. And kind of what I wanted to know is, first of all, your initial shock to seeing it, because for me, it felt very much like watching Tomac ride around the track at Denver. So I want to know what you felt like in the stadium. And second of all, what was the mood or the vibe of either other riders or the pits as a whole in the fact that this might have just been the end of Jett Lawrence's season?
Very similar to Tomac. I too had the same response. Weird how we seem to be getting more and more riders getting hurt without crashing. I feel like that's becoming that the percentage of riders that get hurt without a crash is climbing quite drastically, which is bizarre. The mood in the pits was obvious, was actually quite fine, because talking to Lars, and he even said this on TV, I think, they were at least, the MRI is probably being done as we speak. They were optimistic that it was just a stinger and he would be back. So there wasn't mass panic. And to be honest with you, I bought into what they were saying. Why wouldn't I? But I even said to Lars in my interview, is this poker face? Are you actually concerned? And he said, no, we think it's going to be fine. Now, the counter to that is Jett did leave the track on crutches. And I've been talking to a few riders who have had ACL injuries of their own. And one of the reasons that Honda HRC Progressive are not concerned is because the knee felt tight when they were doing their examinations in the medics unit. And a rider who tore his ACL also without crashing said to me that his knee was also tight immediately after, because he too thought it was okay, but that's because of the swelling, and the swelling makes it feel tight. And when the swelling goes down, then you start to get the loose feeling that comes with a ligament injury. Yeah. So, one hand, it sounds very positive, but then this information makes it sound quite worrying. So it really is just I don't know what this PR is going to say. I believe that right now I'm slightly edging on the side of he'll be in Tampa.
Okay.
And fine. But who knows? Because
a lot of people brought up the fact that this happened to Ken Roxon at Salt Lake City in 2023. Dabbed his foot in the main event, immediately pulled off the track, rode around the stadium with his foot held high because it was my knee's done or something like that. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, I want to get back out there. But I feel like that almost describes the difference. I feel like at no point have we heard from the team or Jett's camp or even Jett's social post of oh yeah, it stung, but now I can walk again or anything like that. Like you said, he was on crutches. Lars didn't make it sound like, oh, he's just, walking around like normal. To me, it seems obvious there is some damage and we just need to know the extent.
Yes, I believe that is a fair take. And also, when I don't remember exactly, but Jett was riding around a stadium wincing in pain.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like Kenny was so much doing that. So it wasn't just Jett going, oh, something's up, let me go get it checked. It was visibly, oh my God, I'm in excruciating pain.
Yeah. We've seen in the past, we've seen in the past with full ACL tears, not torn or slightly damaged or whatever, that riders will take a little bit of time off or whatever, rebuild the strength around it, and then come back. Even though the ACL is torn, you can still ride with that. Yeah. It's just unstable. And then if you have another dab or something really drastic, then it really throws everything off because you could tear other things. If it is a full ACL tear, do you think Honda, Jett, and all that just go, nope, let's get this fixed? We're not going to try to do this, come back halfway through and get going again.
Yeah, if there is any issue that needs to be fixed, then I think they get it fixed. I think the only time you see someone ride through an injury is when their back is up against a wall, either age-wise or contract-wise. There's no reason for Jett to panic in any way. The time off will not hurt his future prospects. And riding with an injury or potentially re-injuring it will harm his future prospects. So I think that whatever action is taken is done to future-proof him. But if it's an ACL, like, I don't think we see him until maybe he can make the SMX playoffs, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
he's automatically in now because he has his win.
Well, into the LCQ.
Oh, true.
No, I agree. I think that they get it fixed. Like, it doesn't make, to me, like you said, age-wise, timing-wise, contract-wise, it doesn't make any sense for him to rush back to this, especially if, like, let's just say he misses a couple of weeks of racing. The championship's over. Even to try to build back up to strength for outdoors, to me, doesn't necessarily make all that much sense because you could just go back out in Supercross and damage it worse. So I don't know. It seems like it's either there's no damage somehow and he's racing Tampa, or there's some damage and he's out for a long time.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. There's no middle ground. If he's in Tampa, then it is fine. Or it's meniscus or something that he's perfectly okay to ride with. But certainly shocking, and especially shocking with Jett, because Jett is so perfect. And okay, I guess people are starting to lean on the fact that he's had a run of injuries, which I guess is kind of true. But I still look at Jett as an injury-free rider. Like, Jett Lawrence injury announcements are few and far between, and they don't really resonate with me where I'm like, oh, here we go again, Yeah. So, and in fact, if you look at it, you would argue that this is Jett's, if it is injured, which we don't know, it would be Jett's first major injury. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you'd count the thumb from last year.
No,
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't count the collarbone either.
No, or the shoulder last year, but I guess he was riding through that anyway, so that definitely was fine. So yeah, I think that's why I look at it slightly differently to being the negative guy who's like, oh, it's an injury run. I categorize by significant injury and other.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this championship dynamic has changed massively. So even if he is in Tampa, I feel like immediately knocks him down from not the clear favorite or anything along those lines. Like, even if he's somehow healthy, because now he has to fight back a little bit in points. He didn't lose a ton because he still got 8th overall or something. But man, like the shock factor of this is crazy. And then you see the repercussions of how this championship looks, where it's suddenly literally Chase and the old guys again. Like, we're back to that, which was the narrative 2 or 3 years before Jett even got to the 450 class. It's weird how cycles repeat like that. And here we go again. Tomac, Webb, Roxon, Chase championship fight.
It is also wild that Jett has had a 12th and an 8th and is only 14 points down in the championship. No, sorry, 13 points down in the championship. Like, how is that possible? And also, equally wild, Jett withdrew from the race with potentially a torn ACL, and yet it wasn't his worst finish of the season. Also wild.
Well, I mean, that's just the Triple Crown. Like,
yeah, no, but it's still just weird to look at, isn't it? Like, what was Jett's worst finish of the season? Well, not the race where he pulled off in the second turn.
Yeah, it was a race where they just had horrific bike setting adjustments. That's his worst race. All right, so big thanks, of course, to Leatt. Stay safe and ride with confidence with Leatt. With a wide range of options from helmets to boots, neck braces to full sets of gear, Leatt has you covered from head to toe. Head over to Leatt.com today and check out their full line of gear as worn by riders like Justin Hill, who absolutely crushed the Triple Crown this weekend, Colt Nichols, Kyle Chisholm, and many others. So big shout out to Leatt, like I said, for coming on board. How about Justin Hill this weekend? This little sidebar, but just straight up giving Ken Roxon the business, keeping Justin Barcia close. Like, it's kind of criminally underrated start to the year for Justin Hill so far.
Breaking news, HRC have just sent out their press release, but as far as I can see, yes, this is all written pre-MRI, because Jett says it felt like I hyperextended it, but we're going to do some therapy, get an MRI on Monday, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
so it's so no breaking news.
Do you think it's kind of weird, like, again, more sidebar, that Honda waits till Monday to get their PRs out when every other team is like Saturday night or Sunday morning?
Even like Sunday night is weird.
Yeah. I mean,
I know the guy who writes a Triumph PR, and he's got it out. If he didn't have to do other activities after the race, he'd have it out during the 450 main event.
The thing about it is, like, there's not many people that even see the PR unless you sign up for their newsletter and stuff. So I don't know that, like, it's, ruining people's lives that it's not out, but it is odd that they're not part of the group that are putting PRs out.
Back to Leatt. Great to have Leatt on board, of course.
Yes.
Little known fact: Lewis and Dr. Chris, thick as thieves.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he still remembers me. I would hope so, but Lommel GP 1 year, like 2018, maybe 2019, around that sort of time. He was there, and I set up an interview with him. We sat in a minivan because it was cold, so we sat in a minivan with a heater on, just riffed, bit of a jive, bit of a rift, bit of a to in and fro in. And I was a huge fan of Dr. Chris, and he was a huge fan of me. Dare I say the two people have never clicked, like Lewis and Dr. Chris.
I love it.
So yep, me and Chris.
Well, great to
Sorry,
have
Doc.
Great, yeah, good Doc. Great to have Doc on board with us. I know how I feel as a journalist when you walked away from that van where you just like chipper as can be. You're like, oh, this is great interviews.
I was like, I think I might become a doctor.
Yeah. Yes. No, thank you so much, Leatt, for coming on board, and we'll tell you guys so much about them this year and throughout the show. All right. My second topic of the day, Lewis, is again, I wasn't there, so I didn't get to see like the reactions, but just based on how they spoke about it on TV and seeing the sense of urgency in both of their ridings, I'll start off with Julian Beaumer a little bit. I feel like Juju kind of blew an opportunity here, and I just feel like he basically hole shots the first two main events and crashes right away. It seemed like he was riding with a little extra sense of urgency off the start as well, which maybe could have contributed to the crash. The first one was just, the track is fresh, and so he probably was caught off guard. A lot of guys were. But then the second start, I feel like, is just, in my opinion, an unforced error. And then Deegan has his mistakes. Neither rider wins on the night. Jordan Smith wins. Cole Davies wins 2 races. I don't know. To me, it's starting to feel like there's so much focus put on them and each other and stuff like that, that in a way, they're not really performing at the peak anymore because of that. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess step one is Juju has gone 2-1, 2-4, which preseason, based on those expectations, everyone would have lost their mind at. But you are now no longer giving him the benefit of the doubt of this being a surprise, and you are judging him not on preseason expectations, but on what we now know to be reality, and that's why you're coming down so hard on a 4th place.
I'm not necessarily coming down hard on a 4th place. I'm coming down hard on what I feel are errors that a champion wouldn't make, if that makes sense. 2 slide outs, like that's just not something that if you're going to win a championship, you do.
Well, I mean, Tomac did it on lap 1 of Anaheim 1.
Okay, sure. But, okay, again, the first lap of the first race, I give it to him because the track is slick. They just graded all that stuff. And then especially right after the whoops too, it's like an ice skating rink into that berm. It always is, especially when they put a little flat after whoops. But did you not like, I feel like the start crash for him, the start slide out, I'm like, come on. Like that was your opportunity again.
Yeah. 2 of them is weird.
Yeah.
1 of them I can allow because I do think that happens to every rider at least once. But 2 of them is weird. I don't know if I put anything in it though. Like, shit does happen. Especially weird as well that the first crash in the first main event, he had that exact crash in qualifying. Like carbon copy, exact same turn, exact same positioning in the turn, like probably hit the exact millimeter of dirt. So that's weird for that to happen twice. So that's even more eyebrow raising. My first thought was that maybe he was like, not panicking, but like, I've got to go, forcing the issue too much, over complicating it a little bit. And that led to mistakes. He kind of poo-pooed that after the race, which I kind of bought into. I can't remember what he said exactly, but he did a pretty good job of convincing me that I was wrong. And to be honest with you, I would be negative on Juju, but he rode so well and did so well to not lose a ton of points that I think I still count this as positive.
Oh, he totally did a salvage job, no question about it. Like that, the rides that he put to get through the field in both races are very commendable. And yeah, championship rides, I would say, because, another person in his position, second year in the class, red plate, 2 crashes. Like in the past, I feel like that would be the moment where they would go, oh God, and ride over their head and then cartwheel in the whoops or whatever, or something like that. So the fact that he stayed reasonably grounded, rode very hard and well, but to not like override the track after that, I think is a testament to, you know, what he's doing with Davey and, you know, the maturity that he's already possessed in 2 years of, you know, getting used to this class and stuff like that. I just feel like there's been so much hype built up around this Juju Deegan battle, and suddenly Jordan Smith is 3 back with a win. I don't know, like, I'm not saying that they're blowing it, but like, it's not really gone the way that a couple people have been, you know, or the people have been saying over the past couple of weeks.
Yes, I to be honest, I'm more critical of Deegan after Glendale than I am Juju because
that's why I'm saying him too. The mistakes
but
were...
Deegan did have an opportunity to grab this thing once again.
Yes,
and didn't take it. Who's your West title pick based on Glendale?
I'm going to
You're
just
going to say Jordan, aren't you?
No, I'm going to say Deegan, because I think when we go to the East-West showdowns and we start having more technical dirt, especially in places like Seattle, I think he'll shine. I think that will allow him the, I don't know if you want to call it freedom, to be a little bit more loose and wild like he is outdoors, and it not be as punishing because you have to be so precise with some of these first couple of rounds. So I would still go Deegan. What about you?
To adjust a common phrase, it will give him just enough rope to unhang himself.
Sure. I haven't heard that one, but okay.
Well, no, the saying is enough rope to hang himself.
Okay.
You not heard that?
No.
It means, life lesson, it means if you I'm your boss, say, in this situation, which I am anyway, and to allow you to prove yourself to me, I'm going to give you enough rope, enough freedom to hang yourself. So effectively, I'm going to give you a little bit of freedom, and we'll see if you end up hanging yourself with that extra bit of rope.
Okay.
Cool story.
So your title pick?
Deegan, just because it is the common sense pick, because I'm still waiting for him to just take this thing. Could I see Jordan taking it from consistency? Yes. Because although, to counter your point, I do think there's a chance that Deegan goes to the showdowns and is so desperate to prove himself against the deeper East field that he kind of screws it up. Whereas I think Jordan goes to the showdown and is just nice and consistent and plods along. Juju, I have more questions about, again, because of the softer East Coast dirt, never been his strong point. So I don't know how that goes. So Deegan, Jordan, Juju would probably be my ranking, which seems crazy. If it was all hard pack and it was all West Coast events, then I'm picking Juju.
Okay. No, I think that's a fair assessment of it because, I mean, like even I think it was Phil Nicoletti on the review show yesterday said that he's seen Juju ride in those conditions and it's not as pretty or as comfortable as he's been. One quick thing I'll ask you about Deegan is I've been a little bit like, not shocked is the right word, but just kind of like this. That's interesting that his starts have not been bad, but his first laps kind of have been. Like he hasn't really been aggressive on the first lap, and he's been losing positions on the first lap. You know, San Diego, he had to roll the triple because Ty Masterpool didn't do it in front of him or something. He lost like 7 spots. But then this week, I feel like he got a couple good starts. I think in mains 2 and 3 or something like that, and was kind of shuffled from like 4th to 7th. Is that something that like you're looking at as well and kind of confused by? Because I feel like Deegan's like demeanor would be like, I'm going to aggro this first lap and pass people.
No, that's the first time that I thought about that, but I will agree that overall, Deegan does not ride in the way that his off-track persona would suggest, where he thinks he's a man, I've got these guys covered, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel like he rides like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he was following Davies and stuff, it's kind of like, looks like, to be honest, I would argue, and you'll never find this out, I would almost go as far as to argue maybe Deegan's got a bit of a confidence issue at the moment. Because maybe it has been a shock to the system that he's not handling these guys and he's having to rethink some stuff.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, definitely after San Diego finishing third, he was pissed. Like he was like, what the hell's going on? Why am I not winning these races? And then he won. But then we're right back to kind of square zero with that where...
Yeah, he was off all day as well. There was no like, wow, look at Deegan moment all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, very interesting to see, I guess, how they both choose to take these weird bumps in the road. Because there's still the two, the top guys in the class. So obviously Jordan's there now to win, but I mean, I don't know that you would say Cole Davies is going to get up there and start beating these guys on a regular basis yet, even though he did it twice this weekend. So it seems pretty top heavy. Still seems to be them, right? So how they respond is going to be interesting, and now they have time to think about it. So
I'm happy to go to East.
you're tired of talking about West guys.
No, the West is good, but I do think the East is going to I feel like the West is very much set, as in Jordan, Deegan, and Juju are going to be in the top 4. Maybe Davies can win a race, and apart from that, here we go, kind of thing.
Hashtag
Whereas
deep field.
East feels wide open to me. Although with Hymus hurt coming in, McAdoo hurt coming in, there's someone else as well. East is definitely going down a little bit, but still should be good.
Hashtag deep field. Yeah, so very interesting. But yeah, Deegan, he worked his way back a little bit, found himself battling with Hunter Yoder at one point as well. And Yoder ended up finishing 14th overall. Big shout out to the Partzilla PRMX program. All their guys making it into the main event at Phoenix, which is the first time they've done that this year. So Partzilla.com, the premier OEM parts dealer and distributor. They sell OEM parts for Honda, Kawasaki, Polaris, Can-Am, Suzuki, Arctic Cat, Sea-Doo, Ski-Doo, and Yamaha motorcycles, ATVs, PWCs, and snowmobiles. Visit Partzilla.com to see their extensive line of parts and accessories. And we are going to have giveaways for Partzilla apparel and all kinds of fun stuff coming up soon. So stay tuned into the show for that. But I mean, cool that the team makes it in. And then like you talked about before, the LCQ, they were like the stars of the show in the LCQ.
Yeah, they really were the stars of the show. Even Ricky gave the team a shout out, and yeah, I think it was unlikely that both guys were going to make it around the halfway mark, so they did well to hustle towards the end and put it in the main event. And that's 2 in a row for Cade, which is, I mean, I did say this to someone. Considering it's such a deep field and we've gone on about that so much, it feels like there's a little more room for the privateer guys to get in. Not that Cade's a privateer, this is more just like a wide-ranging discussion.
Yeah.
I feel like before there would be 1 or 2 spots at the start of the year, but this year it feels like there's 4, say.
Why? Who's missing?
I don't know, because it's deep, and we've not lost anyone, apart from Prado.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the first round, I feel like first round last year, we had 20 factory motorcycles or something like that. And so...
Well, I mean, the first round this year, Colt didn't make it in, and someone else who was good. Dylan, yeah. So that opened up spots. Mm-hmm. But then now, apart from Prado not being there, all of the factory guys are in. Yet there seems to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th in the LCQ seems to have room for everyone.
Fair assessment. Interesting. All right, let's get into my last topic. This is going to be a fan question coming to us on Twitter. And we didn't even send out tweets, and I still got a fan question because it's kind of an interesting, I feel like, discussion when it comes to Triple Crowns. So this is from @Dieter Lasat on Twitter, and he says, should we consider moving away from Olympic scoring in Triple Crowns? This weekend, Cole Davies missed 2nd spot on the podium due to Olympic scoring because his theory is if you give points as if it was a Supercross race, then first is outweighed second, then second to third, and so on and so forth. Do you like Olympic scoring? I'll start with that. Do you like that this is the format they choose a Triple Crown because it keeps it, I guess, simpler in the math department? Or do you think wins should be weighted more? What's your thought on Triple Crown scoring 7 years into this now?
I think I'm indifferent. I think it's done the way it is to keep it close, right? Because if it was scored where 25 for first, etc., then Cole Davies would have basically had an insane lead going into the last race, and it kind of would have been a non-event. Even with his crash in the first corner, probably would have been a non-event. So I guess it's done to keep it close. And also, you can't do the traditional scoring because that's very, very confusing.
Yeah.
So you've got to have different scoring. I think it's fine. The only thing that I would maybe do is give an actual championship point to the winner of each main event.
Oh, I like that.
Keep motivation high, give people a reason to win.
I like that. I was actually thinking if someone sweeps, you give them extra points, 3 bonus points, or on the flip side of it, to make it a little bit more weighted for actually winning a race to help your score, you don't get a point for winning. It's 1, 2, 3. Maybe you win the race, you just get 0. And then second gets 2, and so on and so forth. So a perfect night, you just get 0 points. But then, if in Davies' situation, he went 1-1-8, he'd only have 8 instead of 10.
And would that have been enough to win? No,
not to win, but he would have gotten second with that.
Yeah. I guess the big boss's reaction to that would be, how do you describe to people that someone's just scored 0 points?
Yeah. I mean, it's already like, I feel like I've tried to just do a course look at people in the stadium and how they're reacting to Triple Crown format and stuff like that, because if you're watching the big screen, they have live points and stuff like that, so it does help a little bit with it, but I still feel that you have general like fans that are here for the first time or whatever that are like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like there's people that left Glendale going, Chase Sexton didn't win a single race, he's on top of the podium. You know what I mean?
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like we've seen that so much in Triple Crowns that it's almost par for the course at this point.
Yeah, but they're trying to get new people in, so I'm sure there's new people that are confused by that. Like, again, I watched the race with a more casual fan, so I was able to explain like how the Olympic scoring works and all that stuff, which they try to do in the stadium, but I can totally see how that's missed, especially if you're 18 beers deep.
I noticed on the broadcast that Weege called it similar to golf scoring, which I actually thought was quite a good idea, because I feel like to most people, does Olympic scoring mean anything? I don't know how the Olympics are scored, but golf scoring, that's quite simple. I guess we all know that the lowest score wins in golf.
Yeah, I think it's just
Tip of the hat to Weege.
No, that is a good comparison. I just feel like it's two different things a little bit. Olympic scoring is that way because it's very much like in a race, you get 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. Like, I think that's how the decathlon or whatever is scored as well.
Oh, well, I'm a big decathlon guy.
But that's a race, is what I'm saying. Golf is like,
is it?
I took one swing.
I thought decathlon was like running with a stick. That's javelin.
Yeah, decathlon's like all the events mixed together. You do a swim, you do a bike, you do a 100-meter dash, you do...
My knowledge from the Olympics, Kellen, and you'll like this, comes from the old Wii game, Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games. Played a lot of that as a child.
We all remember those days.
I must have not had a decathlon.
I guess as an overarching question to what Dieter's asking here, though, is how do we view Triple Crowns kind of like 7-8 years in? Because I feel like there was initial like buzz around them. This is going to be interesting. Who's going to win a race? And I don't know. I feel like I was like wanting one big show again this week, and we got a lot of it, which was fun. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with both of that. There is a part of me that wants one big show, and there is a part of me that thinks it's great. Overall, and this can be a topic coming up, this year I feel like I want more out of a night show. Every round I feel like I blink and the night show is over. I don't know what you do to add to that without it just being more meaningless races and stuff. But I do feel like, Triple Crown or not, this year I've been a little bit taken aback by how quickly the night shows have gone, and now they're no different to any other year. But like, and maybe it's just because they're so exciting this year that like I get wrapped up and then before I know it, it's over. Obviously, if it was boring racing, you'd be like, oh, can we just get out of it?
Okay,
yeah,
so
I feel like I want to. I don't know if a longer break, maybe.
What about
can we
2
bring
moto
back
format?
Wiener dog racing?
What about 2 moto format like SMX?
And still have heat races?
No.
Well, then the night show's not going to be any longer.
Not that the night show would be longer, but you could make the 2 races longer.
You know what? Let's put a pin in this, because I had a lot of complaints. Actually, no, I had one complaint, fake news, from a rider at the weekend that said that it's so dumb, the day being so long, and they'd just like to see it all change. So we can discuss this in a future show.
As in, like, qualifying practice, it's just too much. And okay,
basically, this rider said you have to be locked in mentally from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, hey, move a little bit of the practice and qualifying to Friday. Opens up a little bit more.
Okay, I don't know if that's something that riders are voting for, but
everyone's there already.
It's true.
So what's the point? They all fly in Thursday or Friday morning. Just have a late afternoon
just wants
practice.
Less practice. Just one practice. 2 practice.
Okay, sure.
Just do 1 30-minute practice.
Get rid of Friday entirely and then just have 1 practice Saturday. We're all flying in Saturday morning, flying out Saturday night.
No, we keep press day.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing that we really have to hang our hats on anymore, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, That's my 3 topics today. Just interesting discussions there. Hey, big shout out to Namura, the leading provider of engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 2 decades. Namura has been the preferred choice for premium and dependable engine components for more than 20 years. Whether you're restoring your vintage bike, rebuilding your 4-wheeler, or upgrading your new 450 race motor, Namura has you covered. Our extensive line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, engine valves, and soon cylinder kits that enhance your engine's performance. Keep an eye out for us for our new and innovative products in 2025 and beyond. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram at Namura_technologies. Lewis, I don't know what you've just done, sir, but you've zoomed in your camera somehow and you're like blurry as can be. So.
I've not done anything. But yes, I've never seen that before.
You've gone.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to turn. We can keep. This is fine. I'm going to turn my video off and back on.
All right, ready? It's going to be double me on the camera here for a sec.
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm gone, and I'm back.
Hey, there you go.
I don't know what. It was still on the same setting. I just needed to refresh it, I guess.
Okay. What do you got for me this week, buddy?
Oh, is it me? Well, this is perhaps low-hanging fruit, but let's say we'll dedicate half a segment to each. But let's start with this. If Jett is fine and racing, and there's no issue, it was just a stinger, is Jett still your title favorite?
No.
Okay, so now who is your title favorite? This is with Jett being fine. He comes out and says, MRI was fine and I'm riding tomorrow. Literally, there's no concern at all. I'm basically healthier than ever.
I am
you're going to say Jett. You're going to go back to Jett.
No, I'm not. No, I am like about as evenly split between Chase, Eli, and Coop as you can be.
Chase, Eli, and Coop. Oh. So wait. So even if Jett is healthy, you're just out on Jett.
Not out, but I would put him at the definitely 4th.
Why?
Because even if he is like totally fine this weekend, the damage has already been done a little bit. Not only from a mental standpoint, because now he's going to ride a little bit more cautiously, especially if that stinger happens again. And on top of that, he's already lost a lot of points in 2 races this year.
Well, he's only 4 points behind Tomac.
I understand that, but these guys will take an inch and build a gap. Remember last year when Jett had
I am in shock right now.
Remember when Jett had 2 or 3 bad rounds in a row, and it was just like a cascade of like suddenly Webb rose his game and Eli started riding better and Chase was back to his old self, and like these guys have a window of opportunity blown wide open, and Jett doesn't have to pass just one of them. He has to pass 3 of them now, 4 of them, because Roxon's still up there. So.
Okay, well, this is insane, but this makes it easier to move to part 2. If Jett is out, which essentially in your mind he's out, and either way, if Jett is out, then how do you view this situation? Which is going to be hard for you because you just said that you're basically tied across everyone.
Yeah, I would still put like equal stock in Coop, Eli, and Chase, and have Roxon. I would throw some money on him a little bit, but I'm still not all the way there yet.
Can I have a little more than just going even across everyone? You have to pick a favorite.
If you want my honest answer, I'm kind of
that's what this podcast
I'm starting
is.
to lean Coop.
A lot of people are after Glendale.
Yeah, because that's never happened before. He's never ridden that good at that track, and we know
but
how
on the
good
flip
he's going to
side,
be
he's
on the
never
East
ridden
Coast.
so bad at Anaheim too.
Sure, yes, Anaheim 2 is, but okay, yes, Tomac caught him from a ways back, so let's just disregard Anaheim 2 for a second and talk about the fact that we're going to a bunch of tracks that he has won at, been very good at. He's good in these conditions. He's crafty. His starts seem to be better than Chase and Eli's too, for the most part. And so he has done enough. We talked about this 2 shows ago. What does he have to do before we leave? California, Glendale, etc. He's done enough for me. I'm back. Like this is going to be very challenging to stop the momentum rolling once he gets it started for him.
All fair points. Can't argue with any of them. A few people messaged me and said that the look in Coop's eye on the podium after Glendale was that of a guy who's about to unleash a world of hurt on everyone. I mean, I would go Chase, but purely because it's like, it makes sense. He's won more races than anyone else. He has the red plate, so technically he's got an advantage. And I do think that so far, he has been the most well put together rider. Now the starts are a little bit questionable, and the first laps are god awful.
Yeah.
But Tomac's starts have been worse, and his results haven't fluctuated as much as Webb. Well, technically, I guess if you want to say that, Roxon has maybe been the most well put together rider so far. So, but then I kind of lean in Chase's favor because he's won 2 races and Roxon's won 0.
Yeah. Roxon's been the most consistent, I would say, in terms of.
Does that equal most well put together rider?
No.
Okay.
No, but I struggle a little bit to see everyone that's in this current, peak, that's what you want to call it, comfortably adapting to the East Coast. And if I have to pick one rider that I think is going to comfortably do it, it will be Coop. I think Eli's going to have great races. I think Chase is going to have great races. I think Kenny's going to win a couple races too. But I think Coop is going to go 2-3, 1-1, 2-3, like from here,
Yes, but to counter, we all know that Eli is better East Coast than West Coast, and Chase has said multiple times that his bike is a million times better East Coast than West Coast also. So I think you can expect, and to your point that started this discussion, I think you can expect Chase, Eli, and Coop to all be better East Coast, which if Jett is healthy, maybe does make it more difficult for him. I'm far out on your version of just putting Jett fourth, but if it's true and Eli, Chase, and Coop are all going to be better come East Coast, which will really be Detroit, because Tampa is quite hard pack, from what I remember.
Well, they'll have the sand sections and stuff, so.
Yeah, but still, it's not proper East Coast. Detroit is proper East Coast. Yeah, that would make it more difficult on Jett if he is continuing.
So in your situation, you said you would give Chase the nod right now, just based on current status, I guess.
Yeah.
Is Eli second?
Yes.
Okay, so you would put Coop third.
But it's a very tight group.
Yeah.
I think I just want to see. I want to see to believe what Coop does come East Coast, I guess. Whereas you're putting the cart before the horse and kind of presuming that this is gonna here we go. I guess I just want to see a little.
When has he ever not delivered East Coast?
Well, you could say that about everyone. You can say that about.
No, you can't.
No, but no, I mean I still want to I still just want to see it.
Okay, I feel like there
are no guarantees in sport, Kellen.
There are no guarantees in sport. You're correct.
There are no guarantees. Can I move on?
No, you can move on. You're right at the end of time.
250 East.
Let's hear it.
So Hymus was very questionable and is still very questionable, but I would lean towards him racing, but I don't think he's going to be in the battle for the win early on.
No.
RJ, I guess, is very low on prep. McAdoo is hurt, but is going to try and race. There is someone else. Who else is banged up?
Banged up?
Yeah, but I can't. For some reason, I'm missing. Anyway,
how's Faulkner? Faulkner's fine.
From what I hear, from what I can gather, Faulkner and Anstey are the two that are no issues firing on all cylinders.
What's wrong with Tom?
Tom, I completely forget about Tom. I guess Tom as well then. As bad as it is, Tom hadn't even entered my mind.
The champ.
Yes, but I think it's somewhat justified, isn't it? If I said that Tom needs to reprove himself to me, is that wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there with Tom. I feel like he's already kind of proved it this past year. But
this is a deeper field. With all due respect,
yes, he didn't have to go against RJ and Levi, and Faulkner went out from the series early, so he had a little less competition. But
I guess it's not even about competition. It's just for this year, the competition is the guys who have really, really good raw speed. Whereas last year, the competition was maybe more methodical, so it was a competitive advantage for Tom. Whereas this year, his competition are just fast. So I don't know how Tom fits into that group. I don't know how his skill set goes against that, because I think it's not crazy and it's fair to say that Tom does not or will not beat Levi or RJ on just raw outright speed.
In before the Deegan Nation says, clips of you saying that he did not deal with raw speed last year, just so you're aware.
Well, so far this year,
it's kind of
proving
right.
that he is a consistent guy that doesn't have the raw speed.
Yes, I would say that this is definitely a year where I would not necessarily say Tom will have it as easy as last year in that regard. I think he's got way more, like you say, competition that has raw speed at their disposal. But I also want to give Tom credit here because he learned Supercross so fast. He's already won it, and he's been, I feel like, looking more and more comfortable with. Like, I feel like as even the season last year went on, he progressively got more comfortable. And so
yes.
I think another year of that, another year getting comfortable. The platform hasn't changed. He's a multi-time champion. Most of these other guys he's racing are not. Like, it's tough to look at that resume and be like, speed isn't there. You know what I mean? Like, he's crafty. He's going to be very good at figuring out how to get a second and a third when he doesn't have it and win when he does.
Okay, how about this? The tracks have been tougher this year, fair?
Yeah, steeper and challenging technical
The
wise.
whoops have been tougher this year, fair?
Yeah, they've been trying to keep him.
If that trend continues to the East Coast, that also plays against Tom. Now, perhaps it's impossible to continue because of the dirt, so perhaps we will just get tracks of breakdown. But if they find a way, rolling the whoops, a la Paris, like Anaheim 2, whatever it is, that doesn't help Tom.
It doesn't.
He needs a broken down track.
Yes, the whoops have been better this year, but we've been at the four probably hardest rounds we're going to go to, aside from, I guess, Denver and Salt Lake City. But San Diego, everyone except Tomac was jumping the whoops in San Diego. So, like, we're going to get to Indy, and it's going to be like a roller section.
So, yeah, the riders who I've heard no issues about, Max, Tom, and Austin. And now I've also heard that Hammaker is ripping and there's also no issues, but then he's Hammaker. So
sounds about right.
That's a tentative situation always. But then again, you could say the same about Faulkner. I don't know who wins. I really don't. I guess I need to sit. Well, we haven't even mentioned Levi, really. Levi's fine. Just obviously he was sick at the start of January, and I guess he had a big crash when he got back to Florida after that. But he's fine. But just it hasn't been, the 4 weeks leading up to the race also haven't been like perfect. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know who wins, which is very exciting.
What are the chances that all these guys were theorizing are going to be contenders or whatever, and none of them win the opener?
Well, we've named a lot of guys, and I can't think of one who we haven't mentioned who can win the opener. I swear to God, if you say Max Foland.
I wasn't going to go there, actually. But, I mean, like, you definitely, like, you mentioned McAdoo and you mentioned some of these other guys, and, like, yeah, they are banged up, but there's every chance that they just go win anyway. Especially McAdoo, of all people that could get banged up and still win.
I don't think it's so much banged up that's going to get better.
Okay. Well, anyway, point being is that, like, yes, Levi and Tom and RJ and Faulkner, and then, I don't know, someone else just comes out and wins. I feel like I think Faulkner or Anstey will win round one. Okay.
Because they are coming in with heads of steam.
Because you haven't even mentioned him. How about Pierce Brown just wins the opener?
It's not impossible, but that would... SMX aside, that would be a big leap from where we have been in Supercross previously with Pierce.
Sure, but I mean, like you said, it's not impossible. It's hashtag deep field in this 250 East class. So
here's one who we haven't mentioned, who is probably more possible: Thrasher.
Yeah, again, that too. What have you heard about him? I have heard nothing
to be honest.
Nothing about him,
which is good, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe?
Like, I'd rather, like, because I feel like when you hear about Thrasher, it's, yeah, he cartwheeled here, yeah, he backflipped here, yeah, he front flipped here. You know.
Yeah, but I guess, like, in regards to, we have heard of people flying at the test track at Star, and I've not heard Thrasher's name brought up in that regard. I had heard Cole Davies flying at the test track before the season started. So,
yeah, to be honest, I almost suspect that there could be like a confidence issue with Thrasher.
Maybe. Or maybe
after getting knocked down so much, I think maybe the raw speed has been knocked off a little bit in an effort to stay healthy.
We said in the a show maybe last week or something about how many guys are just like, it's time to prove it situations. Do you think that there's a chance Star just went to Nate and said, like, please stop trying to prove it? Like, just make a year.
No.
Okay.
I think the way I look at this championship, RJ, Levi, and Max are 1A, 1B, 1C.
Boland?
Tom, no, that's Maximus. He wants to be called Maximus. Tom and Austin are 2A and 2B.
I can't do that. I can't put Tom. Tom is 1A for me.
I don't know how you can do that.
You don't know how I could put the defending champion there?
No, I don't think you can do that. I really don't. Like, for all the reasons I mentioned, again, this is going to be a raw speed class. What we have seen, well, I guess we've seen it in all classes so far, but the 450 qualifying battle and the 250 West qualifying battle will be just as intense in 250 East, because I imagine that RJ, Levi, Austin, and Max are going to be throwing down.
Yes. I think that times will be very close to our qualifying and then set us up for, like, I feel like what's going to happen in this East class is every week we're going to be like, this is going to be insane, and then someone's going to hold shot and walk away. And I don't know who that is. Pick a name out of a hat, but I feel like that's what we're building up, and then something boring is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, when it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true.
Yeah, that's probably quite likely. I don't know if this is possible, but this has been on my mind a lot recently, and it speaks to the depth. Is it possible we could have a different winner at every single East Coast round? I think the riders are there for that to happen. Obviously a lot needs to happen, but just based on the number of riders who can win, I do think that's possible. Because your potential race winners are Vial, Hampshire, Kitchen, Anstey, Thrasher, Pierce, Hymus, McAdoo, Hammaker. Did I say Vial? No.
I actually don't think you did, no.
Vial. But that's 10 riders right there that if you tell me, oh, they won X race, I go, yeah, of course they did. They can win. Why? No need to explain or elaborate, because of course they won, they are capable of winning.
I mean, yeah, there's every reason to believe that happens. And then you also have to factor in the East-West showdowns. The West guys could win, so then they don't even win. So, sure. Yeah, that could happen. I don't think it will, but it could.
But it's possible, which is rare. Like that was never possible in the West, even when RJ and Levi were going to be racing it.
Yeah, but you say that, and we've had 3 winners in 4 races.
We've had 4
winners in 4 races. Yeah, I forgot about Joe.
Well, we're done now. Davies may get one, but we're done now.
Yeah.
Because if beyond that, Moseman could maybe, but beyond that, like we're looking at
Marchbanks.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you've gone a bit too far there. But no, East is going to be great.
I thought I went too far with Moseman. I was surprised he said Moseman could win one.
Well, I'm full of surprises.
You are full of surprises. Very interesting. Really quickly want to shout out Racetech. For 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. From modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance and engine performance, too. Sneaky engine builder for some teams in the pits. So shout out to Racetech for backing the show. Always appreciate their support. And, last topic of the show brought to you by Racetech. What do you got?
What do I have? Well, it's kind of a smaller topic. But Ferrandis, and I feel like you never in a million years would have guessed that I would start the topic.
Ferrandis?
Like, of all the riders. Ferrandis has been really good the last 2 weeks. Is he just at a dead end, or is there a way that he, like, come the end of the year when Mookie, Barsha, AP, Jake Coop are competing for rides, is there a world where Ferrandis can get back into that factory debate?
Oh, yeah. There is a world that he gets back on a factory bike for sure.
See, I feel like I believe that my feeling is that he's at a dead end.
I mean, if he keeps going 7, 6, 5, 7. I almost look at it as like Justin Hill. Like if you're a factory team, you're like, yeah, let's take the risk.
No, I don't think that's good enough. I think that for him to get on a factory team, he needs to be consistently podiuming.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
No.
because I think the perception of Dylan has kind of dipped so much that he really needs to wow to get back there.
Well, I could see teams passing on him because of the way that the star relationship ended, and people being weary of like, well, if he doesn't like the bike, he's just going to be pissed off and criticize us, and it's not going to be great. You know what I mean? Like I could see people be weary of that. I don't know about. I just feel like on a results basis, like you look at all the factory bikes he's putting behind him every week. Same thing with Justin Hill.
To be honest, his results haven't been as good as they should be this year. The riding has been very impressive.
Yes.
So it depends where the riding goes. But I just don't see a world where X factory team is like, we want Ferrandis. I think he's at a dead end. I just think that Phoenix is kind of his spot. Now, in saying that, you do have Triumph, you do have Ducati, so there will be more factory rides. But still, I don't think that for those new teams, Ferrandis is going to be the one that they want, because even if his results, like you say, 5, 6, 7, I don't think that his signing would bring the excitement or notoriety that you want. It's kind of just like, unless he starts to really rewrite his story, podiums, etc. Top 5's podiums.
I have a question about Hep in regard to this.
Okay, hi.
Roczen may or may not be out at the end of this year. There,
yes,
because the Ducati links and all that stuff like that that we've heard for many years. But let's just say Roczen stays at Hep for 2026.
Yep.
Do you think that they, when Chiz goes away, are just going to try to find another guy that's like, main event guy, not necessarily like blows your wig off? Or are they ever going to try to pivot and be like, no, we need to have another top guy?
Are you asking in general or just solely about Ferrandis?
Well, yeah, Ferrandis, or there's a lot of free agents.
There were rumors about Ferrandis going there again for this year.
I know. That's why. I mean, that's kind of why it popped into my head in the first place. And then I looked at results, and yeah, Ferrandis is comfortably ahead of Colt and Kyle. Which
I think Dylan is a possible get for Hep, but I think the potential hurdle, like, because there was also rumors that they were going after J-Coop for this year.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger issue is, can they actually get the guys? As in, are the guys going to want to? Are the guys who have options going to choose the Suzuki team over X, Y, and Z?
Well, doesn't that just boil down to if they know Ken Roczen and they talk to him on a regular basis, he can tell them yes or no? Doesn't Dylan ride with Kenny sometimes?
Who?
Dylan.
Yeah, I think Dylan aside, Dylan clearly wants to be on Hep because he's negotiated with them multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm saying Hep would potentially shoot higher, and it comes down to whether they can get those higher guys. Like, would an AP want to go to Hep if he had another option? I don't know. Because I do think there's a little bit of feeling that that's almost like a dead end.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I
don't know how you shed that.
Well,
but I think
all I'm trying to draw a comparison to here is Hep is a factory team. Like, Suzuki's involved, but it's not to the level of Honda and all these other teams that are just like pouring factory parts at them and stuff like that. Whereas Phoenix is not. So, like, should we be giving more credit to Phoenix and Tedder and all these other teams that they can still court a guy like Ferrandis and Hill to not go to a factory team and ride for them instead?
Hep.
No, I'm saying, should we be more positive about Phoenix and Tedder being able to keep courting these guys and not allowing them to go to a beta or a Hep or something like that?
Well, Tedder is the Tedder and Hill thing is, I'm throwing that out.
Okay.
Because that's irrelevant. Because the only reason that they're together is because they're two odd ducks in the same pond. Okay. Hill is never getting a better ride. Tedder is never getting a better rider.
Okay.
Or if they do get a better rider, it's a rider who has absolutely no other options and ends up there. So I'm throwing that out. Phoenix, I would put Beta higher on that list because I do think that And of course, this is higher on that list, but much lower than HEP or another factory team. But I think Beta has shown enough this year where if you were if you were a Ferrandis, still Plessinger, Malcolm, Barsha, Jacob, they're not going to Beta. They're not going to Phoenix unless they absolutely have to, is my point. Basically, my point is you have the A tier of riders and rides and the B tier of riders and rides. Ferrandis is in the B. Can he get into the A tier of those rides? I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless he really overperforms. And if what your question is can Beta and Phoenix get into the A of riders? And I'm saying also no, unless the A rider is so out of luck up here that they themselves come down to this tier.
Well,
to shop.
I mean, there's a lot of free agents at the end of the year. Barsha, Malcolm, Plessinger, all these guys. And then if we're talking about the Austria camp too.
Jacob, Roxon,
sure. But I'm talking about the Austria camp specifically. I think that the answer to your question about guys like a Ferrandis and if they get back in the A group factory circle has a lot to do with how many bikes the Austrian group is going to roll out in 2026. And then does that factor into rides available elsewhere?
Wasn't there a thing where like Ferrandis tested an Austrian factory bike and it was like there was some sort of hoo-ha a few years ago?
Maybe. I mean, I know
he was trying to go to KTM or he was trying to
I
go
know
to
he wanted to. I know that he was trying to go to KTM.
Yes.
I do not know that he fully rode and that happened.
No,
or
neither do
like
I.
that,
I just know that there was some sort of event there.
Yeah.
No. Interesting. I'm done.
Interesting. I'm done. Oh man, good stuff. All right, that's our show then today. Big thanks to Leatt, Namura, Racetech, Partzilla, all of them for backing the show, making it possible for me to get Lewis Phillips on Zoom today to talk about racing. Tampa coming up. Lewis, you don't have to get on a plane this weekend. You excited?
Well, I do have to get on a plane.
Huh?
Yeah, I knew that would confuse you. I'm on Pulp after Tampa.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Here's a non-moto. So I chose Tampa because I was like, well, I'm not traveling that weekend. So it, in theory, is an extra travel. It's just like, that's my travel for that weekend. But now, as it draws closer, I'm like, I wonder if it would have been better for me to just pair it with a race. Because now I am traveling. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, no.
A West Coast race wasn't an option because he was fully booked.
Okay, well, like you could have waited until Seattle, I guess, is pretty far away.
Well, I'm on after
Arlington.
Birmingham.
Man, that's 3 weeks apart.
Is it? No, further than that. Birmingham's March the 22nd.
Oh, sorry. My mind went to Birmingham being round 9 last year.
Fake news.
Fake
Sad.
news. No, good luck on Pulp. I guess
you'll see me before then. Because you're staying here, Kellen.
I understand that, but I don't think that we'll do LVK before Pulp next week then.
I would like to because I'll be tired because I'm red-eyeing back.
So you want to do it while you're there? Can you bring
I don't leave until 1 p.m. on Monday.
Oh, wait.
My time.
Oh, so you want to do it
like 7 a.m. your time on Monday morning.
8 a.m. your time on Monday morning. We'd have to do it earlier than that. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in to the Leatt LVK More Than Moto podcast. We'll be back to recap everything that we just talked about, 250 East and more next week after Tampa. And we'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.